All righty. Thanks, Joan. Hi, everyone. I am Teresa, and I am joining you from St. Louis, Missouri in the United States. So it's like 7:11 a.m. right now here. But I appreciate you all taking time to listen to a pre-recorded presentation that I gave or that I had done for this. So I am an author, a professional speaker, a co-parenting coach, and also I've went through family mediation training, although I haven't actually done solo mediation yet. But I've also been a co-parent and a step-parent for 20 years, a little bit over 20 years. And so I've walked this journey. So that is where I draw my experience from. I don't have a bunch of letters after my name. So I will let you listen to the presentation that I gave, and happy to answer your questions during the Q&A that should be following that. And with that, I believe we have someone starting it. You'll see if you type divorced parent into a Google search. Pretty bleak, right? But why? Why do we expect families to be unhappy following divorce or separation? Isn't the possibility of greater happiness the whole reason parents separate to begin with? Otherwise, why do it? Why not just stay together? Yet many divorced families do descend into dysfunction and misery. And both the children and their parents pay the cost. But so do we. You're going to hear from many researchers during this conference, sharing with you the societal cost of family dysfunction, how family members suffer from increased anxiety and depression, substance abuse, poverty, and if ultimately the children stemming from this family dysfunction could end up experiencing higher rates of crime and incarceration. It's apparent from all of these impacts that you're going to hear so much about that this affects all of us, and we have to do better. It's time to raise the bar on co-parenting. Divorce is the end of the marriage, not of the family. And wouldn't it be great if we had more pictures like this one to look at when we search for divorced families on Google? Now, this is my 92-year-old mother, Helen. And let's just say that we've had some relationship challenges throughout my life. When I was a teenager, I didn't think my parents knew what they were talking about. My mother was old-fashioned, out of touch, didn't understand me or what I was going through. She couldn't possibly, but she kept teaching me her lessons anyway. And then I got older, I went to college, I got married, I had my own child. And one day I realized I was saying things to him that my mother had said to me. And as I look back over my life, whether relationships, personal or professional, had gone well or not, it all seemed to hinge on whether I had followed the lessons she had taught me. And as I became more aware of how valuable all these lessons were, I more consciously moved forward in future relationships, leveraging them. And the lessons that I have from my mother span a very broad spectrum, but I only have time for two of them today because my time with you is limited. And I'll cover the two that most directly relate to my relationships with people, both personally and professionally. And the first is, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. And second, treat others the way you want to be treated, not how you feel they deserve to be treated. This is a photo of my son, his father, and I about 10 years ago. We divorced when our son Ian was 6 years old. And in the moments where we came to that painful decision, his father said to me, "Teresa, you realize you're going to miss half of your son's life?" And I thought, this is not the way that my family is going to unfold. I couldn't bear the thought of missing out on half of my parenting experience, nor did I think it was right that my son's father miss out on that experience, because I could empathize with it. I could feel it. And most importantly, it wasn't fair to our son to make him sacrifice half of his relationship with each parent simply because of our decision that was beyond his control. So I set out to find a better way forward, not together, but as a new entity after our divorce had finalized. We were now a parenting team. And I felt I could focus on that by focusing my energy on very simple things. And I came up with really 3 main components of my success to co-parenting. They were: be a good parent, enable my son's dad to also be a good parent, and to follow mom's lessons to make it happen. Now, I can tell you our son is now 29, and he will tell you he had a happy childhood with all of the memories intact. So we did something right. So we've been at that for 23 years or so. And I've also been a step parent for 15 of those, a decidedly more difficult task to achieve success at. But still, we did it. I've also been coaching people as individuals in teams to achieve things they thought were impossible for themselves or their businesses. And over the years, that has required me to really dig deep on how to resolve conflicts, how to bring people together to achieve what they most desired. I'm a certified wellness coach, project manager, and a credentialed family mediator. And now I've put my efforts and energy into co-parent coaching with a unique approach that I'll share with you. And I have to say that my whole goal is, if I can do it and raise the bar for my personal happiness and my son's potential, then they can too. Who am I held accountable by, given my credentials? I'm held accountable by my clients. I'm not a researcher, a legal professional, a mental health professional either. I'm really not certified in any of those disciplines. But I do know that if I am not successful in helping my co-parents to achieve what they desire most, that I will not be successful.
Teresa, thank you.
So here's
very
how
much.
my co-parent coaching works. I help the co-parents to focus on 3 basic goals. Be a good parent and enable your co-parent to do the same. Raise happy, healthy, caring, and responsible children. And achieve personal happiness. So important. Are there qualifiers? Absolutely. I mean, first, they must want their child to be happy. If they are satisfied to make them miserable and do so consciously, there's not a thing I can do to change that. They also must want to personally be happy. And they must be willing to do what it takes to make numbers 1 and 2 possible. Are there disqualifiers? Of course. I highly doubt that if there is physical violence or abuse, substance abuse or addiction, or criminal behavior, presently involved, that co-parents will be able to collaborate and move past conflict to more productive behaviors. However, I say that anyone is redeemable and anyone can change given the help and the will to do so. So you might be looking at all this and thinking, she's oversimplifying it. Honestly, is this all it takes? Well, remember Mom's 2 lessons and let's put them to the test. Can parents who don't like each other follow Mom's 2 rules that I shared with you? The first one, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. What are the requirements of that request? To choose silence or to walk away. We always have that choice. Even if we're provoked by someone else, we decide how we respond to that interaction. Second, treat others the way you want to be treated. You may have been drawn into conflict, but at the end of the day, everyone has a choice on whether or not they treat someone else the way they want to be treated. And I sort of jokingly say that even a narcissist can do this, because if you look at the statement, they're no longer focused on anyone but themselves. I'm simply asking them to think of themselves and say and do only things that they would want said or done to them. Simple. And finally, do they have the capacity to repeat the process over and over and over again? And I have said this for decades when coaching people on behavioral change and improvements in what they want to accomplish. If you can do it once, you can do it every time. You simply need to prove out your capacity to do so the first time. So here's how my coaching is unique. Yes, I coach parents together or separately in different sessions, but during the same time frame generally. And when I'm working with them, I help them shift their focus first from intimate couple to a new entity I refer to as the parenting team. The difference here is that I also work with individuals who don't have a cooperative counterpart to attend coaching during the same time frame. And a lot of people will write those parents off. You can't go to mediation. You can't partake in any of the other alternative dispute resolution processes if the other parent is unwilling. But in this scenario, my goal with the individual is to help them shift their focus from victimhood and blame to parenting. Because without fail, I'm always able to find an additional strategy that they can employ to attempt to rebuild a bridge or find a way to diffuse hostilities. For both of them then, I work with them once they've shifted their focus to take ownership of their role. Again, you see what I'm doing here. It's putting the responsibility back on them, giving them control. Because a lot of times parents mired in all of these hostilities feel victimized. They feel that there's nothing they can do, that this is all there is, that the expectation is already written in stone for them to be unhappy. So I help them take back that control and that ownership of their role in the conflict itself as a team member with their parent and as a parent toward their child. We work to identify the triggers that lead to conflict and then lay out a plan for the alternatives that they'll employ instead. And then we create a plan that focuses on them doing the work and accepting the outcome. Because in the end, one of two things is going to happen. At the very least, they will find peace, knowing that they've done everything in their power to improve the situation, and they can go to bed at night feeling good about themselves. In the best case scenarios, the parents are able to collaborate and their child is able to thrive. And we create a new image, a new expectation for parents parenting separately. So now, how do we raise the bar for co-parents more broadly, beyond the two parents themselves? Everyone plays a role. Of course, it starts with the parents. Remembering that we must plant the expectation in their mind that they don't have to like each other in order to collaboratively co-parent. Neither of them is perfect nor needs to be perfect in order to make this work. The legal system can take advantage of the many options that are out there that run opposed to the adversarial litigation processes in family courts, collaborative divorce, amicable divorce, advocating for 50-50 shared parenting laws that keep families in touch with each other. Mental health professionals could do parents a great service by focusing more on the parent-to-parent relationship. And that may sound counterintuitive, because didn't they want to end their relationship? They did as intimate partners, but they are tied together as parents until death really does do them part. And I'm a firm believer, if you resolve and reduce the family conflict between parents, the family dysfunction will decrease as well. The research you'll see at this conference bears that out time and time again. Educators need a greater awareness of the challenges that co-parents must overcome and provide support to them through programs ingrained in the educational system. And they could do a great service to society as a whole to educate children, their students, on the benefits of family success to them personally and to the world. And our pop culture can give us more positive imagery to build upon for divorced parents. We hear a lot in diversity, equity, and inclusion about how someone is more likely to aspire to a particular goal if they see someone who looks like them achieve it. So let's feed those images of positive co-parenting to society so they can aspire to it. Because in the end, the children are the ones that really stand to gain the most and have the most at stake. And our futures are in their hands. I have one call to action for you. Expect more of your legislators, your institutions, the work you do, and the parents themselves. We must do better. I invite you to connect with me if you'd like to learn more about how I approach co-parenting and working with other families to help them achieve it. And my book, Combative to Collaborative, The Co-Parenting Code, is available on Amazon. And finally, I'll leave you with my lessons from mom. Number one, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. And number two, treat others the way you want to be treated, not the way you feel they deserve to be treated. And that is how I'll leave you today. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of your conference.